Today on Locked On Rockies. Well, how about that? The Rallying Rocks strike again and snap a 10-game losing streak. Oh boy, 10-game losing streak to the Dodgers is no more.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 19th day of August in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day. Free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies, just like so many of you have throughout the season. And hey, we get to continue to see a nice stretch of Rockies baseball continue here as the team picking up their fourth straight win here. Comeback victory number, what is it like? I mean, at this point in this streak, what is it? 3, 4, 5, 6? It's kind of hard to get to keep track of them. It's the first win for the Rockies against the Dodgers this season. It's the first win for the Rockies against the Dodgers dating back until last season. 10-game losing streak going is now snapped thanks to a lot of heroics, and we're going to dive into it all here on today's episode. Before we do, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. Hey, you look at the box score maybe and stuff, and it's not the most dominant or the biggest or the most impressive performance in areas. But the bottom of the order and the guys that needed to came up big. Ezequiel Tovar drops in the lineup a little bit. Brenton Doyle drops to 8 in the lineup here. And you see these guys, Ezequiel Tovar getting multiple hits, multiple RBI in this. I'm sorry, only the one RBI, but I thought he'd driven the other one with that little doofer. But I think that got him over there into runners in scoring position. That was able to help Ritter drive in some runs there. That might have been Doyle doing that. I can't quite remember. But anyway, they said this a lot on the broadcast. It's all about how this version of the Rockies team is putting the ball in play. And that is one of the difference makers here. This team is still a 6 strikeout game for the Rockies offense. Not as bad as they have been in the past. But they've been putting the ball in play. They've been, and again, it's not the biggest, it's not the hardest hits. Tovar leaves the yard here, but the walk-off was a hard hit ball up the middle there. It's about nabbing some singles. It's about being able to get on base with a couple of walks thanks to Karros there. Both of his walks are influential here. It's about the small things. It's about not trying to do too much. It's about not trying to overperform or get too big for the moment there. It's about handling business, and it's about just trying to execute on the little things. And that's what the Rockies did in this game. They were out hit by the Dodgers 8-6. They were down 2-0 after the second inning. But the Rockies responded, and then, and including the fact that Kyle Freeland dealing with the blister on his hand, he battles through at least 4 innings. Not the sharpest there, of course, obviously, when you saw, that close-up. it zooms in. I think that's a good reminder, too. When as gross as that scene and looking at that was, seeing that nasty blister there, I think you kind of got to remind yourself when you see those things, it's like, that's why pitchers get taken out when there's blisters. Like that's why when these small kind of injuries are the ones that might sit there, I'm like, are they really going to let a blister to get these athletes from out of the game? Or they're not? When you can't grip the ball, and you saw a couple of the things that Kyle threw, and immediately going and wiping his hand and grimacing, and that when you're trying to get your fingers into to curve and do what you need to do with the baseball, and you can't do that because it's painful, you're going to spike and throw the ball around. You're not going to be able to execute and hit your spots. And as the broadcast also mentioned, especially frustrating for Kyle to follow up that incredible performance there that he had on his last start with this. But it still was, it wasn't the prettiest, but he gutted it out, navigated the damage, limited the damage, and also struck out 5 guys. The Rockies pitching staff, every single Rockies pitcher in this game, at least 1 strikeout. Jaden Hill and Peralta, they both get crooked number in strikeouts there, which is coming up in a massive spot in the game here where you need that middle of the relief. You need your middle relief guys, especially in this, to make sure that this game doesn't get out of hand. And Jaden Hill gets the couple of strikeouts and does allow the earned run on just 1 hit there and the 1 walk. Shows you that walks are a problem. Double-edged sword there, right? But the bullpen comes up, backs him up, and they all help and go through here with a very, very solid performance throughout the rest of the game here. The bullpen was responsible for 5 innings worth of pitching in this. The bullpen allowing only 2 hits in that time and only the 1 earned run and 1 walk in that time while racking up 7 strikeouts. That's awesome. These are guys, I mean, it was so nice to see. And something we haven't seen a ton, really, especially against the Dodgers. It was nice to see the Rockies pitchers being the ones in the driver's seat, making the Dodgers pitchers, or Dodgers hitters look off balance, look a little foolish. I mean, there was just some great pitches there, and I can't remember if it was Peralta or Mejia or whoever got one of their strikeouts where it was just this absolute beaut that was on the outside half of the plate. And I can't remember which Dodgers player was up, but he just looked at absolutely absolutely shell-shocked or just couldn't believe that it was a strike. But no, it was the Rockies pitching staff executing the way that they needed to. It was the Rockies pitching staff hitting their spots, hitting their locations, not allowing too many free opportunities in this one to a great team and an offense that doesn't need it. Shohei Ohtani, a strikeout. Every single member of the Dodgers starters had at least 1 strikeout except for Call. And they respond by striking out Conforto, who was in the pinch hit spot for him there. That's awesome. To be able to do the damage here, to be able to answer and respond to a Dodgers team that was just coming off a major momentum swing and sweeping the Padres, looking to go into this series and probably really put their foot down and really be able to separate themselves here in the NL West in an important part of the season. The Rockies still navigating the worst record in baseball, still trying to navigate the away from being the worst team in baseball history. They bounced back. They gave them a fight. And the broadcast mentioned Dave Roberts not saying that, saying they weren't going to underestimate them or anything like that. And I'm not saying specifically they were. But the Dodgers were shocked tonight. The Dodgers did not expect that version of the Colorado Rockies to emerge. They did not expect to run into a team that's playing better baseball. And the Rockies still have 3 more games against the Dodgers. And ideally and hopefully it isn't all the magic isn't lost here. Hopefully all the magic isn't used up in this first one. Because the best sign from this is the Rockies go through one of their best stretches of baseball, arguably throughout the season here. Again, I know this is only a 4-game win streak, and we're still coming off of the fact that we were just going through a nightmare of a time, a nightmare scenario with the Rockies and that 8-game losing streak. But since losing, like we said in the game on the pod yesterday, since that 8-game losing streak, the Rockies now have won their last 6 out of their last 7 ball games. They're on a 4-game winning streak. They are in a position here, if you can get at least 1 more win against the Dodgers, that's at least a series tie against them. If you even pick up 2 wins against the Dodgers, that's going to be that's going to be 3 straight series wins for the second time that you've done that in the second half of the season. That's another home series win here. You're continuing to look at the Rockies here, making sure and making more adjustments and playing that better, more competitive baseball. And it hasn't mattered the competition of late. Of course, Toronto, the series still very fresh in the minds here. But we were asking for this Rockies team to respond. We were asking for these Rockies teams to answer the call and respond to the test. And this is another great example. This is a great little chunk, a great little mini evaluation period for the Colorado Rockies here, these young guys. The Diamondbacks and the Dodgers at home. You won 3 out of 4 against Arizona. You just shocked the Dodgers in game 1 here. How do you keep building off this momentum? How do you keep growing? How do you keep building that confidence, saying it doesn't matter that it's the Dodgers. It doesn't matter what our record is. We are going to go out there and put on a performance and get the job done. And it ain't going to always happen for the Rockies. But tonight, they did it. And it's a complete team effort across the board. When we've talked about the Rockies coming up short in games this year, when we've talked about the Rockies in frustrating losses, we've talked about the inability to play the 9 innings, to play the complete games, to go until the final out, to close out parts of the game. In this game, they did that. In this game, they navigated an early departure from their starter, got timely and clutch hitting by patient at bats and by putting the ball in play and getting a home run when they needed it to. They executed and played clean baseball on defense, and they got the job done. That's how you handle business. That's how you change the narrative of yourself. That's how you continue to play better ball in the second half. Because we weren't seeing that with the Rockies in that losing streak. We're now seeing the Rockies respond in these ways, which is awesome. And it's being headlined by the fact that the Rockies are getting some really impressive performances here from some young guys as the Rockies continue to play a nice solid stretch of baseball. Let's dive into some of the numbers here. And of course, let's talk about Warming Bernabel, the hero of this game. But we got to go ahead and also mention the fact that the Rockies got key contributions from other youngsters in this game as well. Let's break it all down right here on Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel. August 26th. Yes, that is just around the corner. It's officially FanDuel Futures Day. And what does that mean? Well, it's a brand new holiday because we need more football-focused fun. And FanDuel Futures Day is a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. How hyped up are you about the Broncos after that preseason game? What are you thinking? Are you going to maybe dive into some of the stuff like division winners or Super Bowl champions? Maybe take a flyer on craziness for a Bronco to be MVP? Well, you can see it all for yourself during FanDuel Futures Day. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champion before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Maybe you're buying into the Buffalo Bills hype. Maybe you're buying into the Ravens hype. Maybe you're going to go with the sleeper for MVP, like possibly a Joe Burrow, perhaps. Well, you can take a flyer on those MVPs, crown your champion in August, or parlay your division winner dark horses. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only, and that's at FanDuel. Play your game. Locked On Rockies here, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. Firing off those Rockies hot takes. Let me know it's on your mind. This is what one of the Locked On Rockies here listeners said. TK says, warming swing is special. Not a lot of thump, but they need contact hitters like him. Mark Grace comparisons for sure. Great demeanor as well. Warming Bernabel is not shied away for the moment. Warming Bernabel has, as in his time, he's come up and impressed. He's been someone that, again, it's still too early to tell what maybe, what is the big picture? What does everything mean when you zoom out and all that stuff? But right now, this is a guy that has come up and really made an impact here as he's approaching his first 100 at-bats in the major leagues. 79 at-bats into his career. He's got 24 hits, 4 home runs for a .304 batting average, and he scored 11 times with 12 RBI. He's got a 329 OBP, a slugging of 557, an OPS of 886, and an OPS plus of 132. He's also taken out members of the pitching staff there. He's kind of looked a little, some of that stuff, like some of the areas on defense and some of the maybe the over aggression is a problem, but the energy and that's just what's nice about watching this stretch and watching the second half of the Rockies is it continues to go back to young guys who were looking to make their moment here. Now, because it's not only the fact that Ezequiel Tovar bouncing back from a rough stretch there for a little bit, but the impact that Tovar has is one thing. But when it's backed up by some of these other guys coming up, and sure, they haven't had a lot of time to have people adjust to them or anything like that. But Bernabel, there are signs to be encouraged by here. When you're looking at these things here, when you're approaching 100 at bats and looking the way he does. When you are looking as confident and comfortable at the dish that Bernabel is looking, these are positive things here. There of course are things in the back of your head that you can tell yourself and remind yourself to kind of cool the flames and just that and make you feel like a little bit like, as my buddy Jambron texts me, defense a bit suspect, but he's high contact and high OBP with some pop. Lineup really needed that and need to watch more Karros too, because this is what he followed up with me here. Why are the Rockies playing much better? Going from a 180 hitter who constantly strikes out at first base to a 304 hitter and a 550 slug is a huge turnabout. They also got Tovar back at shortstop. Tovar and Bernabel is much better than Tolia and Ritter. That's talking baseball. I mean, and that's pretty amazing here. When you're talking about the differences between those two guys. I mean, and Tolia had a lot of opportunities here, but I don't think he's even came anywhere close to what Warming Bernabel's been doing for a start here. Negative 1.5 WAR for Tolia compared to Warming Bernabel, who's at 0.8 in 79 at bats. 299 at bats for Michael Tolia. 58 hits, 11 home runs, 194 batting average, 22 runs, 32 RBI, 3 stolen bases, 261 OBP, 361 slugging, 623 OPS, and an OPS plus of 65. I mean, those numbers are dreadful. And here's hoping that Tolia can turn it around. But it's amazing to see the differences between the two. It's amazing to see the impact here from a guy that Tolia was supposed to be able to take the step here. He was supposed to be the guy that was going to be, a guy that was on my list of guys to really watch out for and look out for the breakout here. But let's just compare and go back here real quick on these two things. 11 home run. I mean, we got almost 200 more at bats here. I mean, it's 220 more at bats for Michael Tolia this year compared to Warming Bernabel. Tolia only has, what is this? He's got 20 more RBI. He's scored only 11 more times. I mean, if you just went across and doubled everything here, doubled the at-bats, and you kind of know if you've listened, I do that. If you doubled everything, gave Warming Bernabel another 79 at-bats, and he performed the way that he performed now. And this is just the 79 at-bats. You're talking about a guy that's got 8 home runs. That would be right behind Michael Tolia's 11. You're talking about a guy whose batting average is going to look much better, hundreds of points higher than Michael Tolia's 194. Easily you can have 20. I mean, they would be tied in runs scored. You'd be a little bit behind in RBI. But all the other advanced numbers would be looking great if Bernabel can continue on this trend. This is it's something that these are the type of things that are the good signs. And you do wonder what took so long to get here. Well, you do wonder why it took so long to get Warming into get him up to the major leagues and get him there, and why the Rockies continued to go and give Tolia so many at-bats this year, or when it was clearly not working. But there's also, the one thing is too, it's just we saw a good stretch from Tolio last year. But I just think that this is a guy that came up and has not been intimidated by any moment yet. Has not cared about the record, the standings, whatever. He cares about coming up here and making an impact for his team. And that's what he's done. I mean, these are incredible numbers. I know it's not the biggest of sample sizes. And I do bring that up a lot because it's important context. But we were talking about the importance of getting the ball in play. Being a guy that it's not about just hitting the ball. It's also not striking out. Right now on for his in those at bats, he's only got the 10 strikeouts. 10 strikeouts for in those 79 at bats there. He's actually got technically 82 plate appearances when you factor in the walks as well, 3 walks as well. But for that to be such a part that he's not struggling with, for him to not look so lost, and like we've seen Rockies hitters throughout this year at certain points, for him to not look so uncomfortable at the dish, that's just it's really encouraging. It's a positive sign that there continues to be life and energy within this Rockies offense, and it's being led by guys doing their job. And it's guys like Warming coming up and being effective. Doesn't have to be big home runs. Doesn't have to always be game-changing, earth-shattering. Sometimes it's just it's all about hitting a single up the middle. And that's what Bernabel has been doing this year. But anyway, let me know. How are you feeling? How do you feel about the rise, the performance of Warming Bernabel? How legit do you think it is? Let me know in the comments below. We're going to just put a bow on this one here. Look again and kind of highlight a couple of the other things that were good signs from the game here, and look ahead for game 2 as well. And we're going to do that in just a moment. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes PrizePicks. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. The daily fantasy platform lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football isn't far behind. Whether you got your eye on big-name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in the game. Like we were talking about. How pumped are you on the Broncos? You're going to go with more on Bo Nix on passing yards? You're going to go more on Cortland Sutton receiving yards? Maybe you're going to take a little flyer on Marvin Mims. Well, you can see all that action. It's really simple because all you got to do is just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. You can use PrizePicks and see how simple it is, and you can get your lineup in before your coffee finishes brewing. Perfect if you're on the West Coast there for those early start times as football season gets going. The flex play option is a total game changer. Even when one of your picks misses, you can still double your money. PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, run your game. Locked On Rockies here, bringing this episode to a close. It was my birthday on Monday, and what a birthday gift. A nice Rockies walk-off win against the Dodgers here. And it's just, one thing that's nice about this too, and again, many people will bring up the context of everything and the season, and maybe they'll sit there and claim I'm too cheery for this time, but these are solid. The last few times, even as it's been comeback wins, I saw someone I believe during the live chat of the premiere of the episode say they don't want to see comeback wins. They want to see get out ahead and set the tone, be the team that's there, be the team that gets out ahead early and coast and not coast, but carry that through the game. But I like seeing the fight. I like the fact that, again, this is a Rockies team that with everything at them could roll over, And this stretch against the NL West, they haven't rolled. They've fought back and made it valiant. They have now made it so Coors Field gets back to being an uncomfortable and unfriendly place to play right now. They continue to show that that there is an energy, there is companionship here, there is a solid team core chemistry here. And the performances on the field and everything, that's one thing, but it's just fun to see this team compete. It's fun to see, even when they struggle, even with those struggles, even as frustrating as that most recent losing streak was. There's just a vibe and energy when you look at this lineup, and when you look at the fact that the Rockies are really, really focusing on given those opportunities. The Rockies won today because the young guys stepped up. Their young star shortstop got a key late game home run to tie the ball game up. Their recent call-ups have performed and impacted the team, including Karros here, who gets 2 huge walks and scores as a result of that. When you're looking at the fact that these guys, that Bernabel's batting 301, Karros 273, and Ryan Ritter, it's a smaller sample size, but 252, mixed with the fact that you have Freeman and Moniak and Goodman and Beck being successful at the top. Weren't successful in this game. The top of the order going over completely with that, but these other guys able to come up and have a moment here. And for them to show the fight against the National League West, that's what makes it not only more entertaining, but that's what makes you feel a little bit more confident and comfortable with this team. And it's what makes you feel like there is some things that the Rockies can build on and grow from. Getting 2 huge walks there from Karros, the great, to be disciplined, for the Rockies to get 12 strikeouts and 7 of those strikeouts coming from the young bullpen. Hill, Peralta, Mejia, Vodnik, these are all youngsters for the Rockies, all having key moments in this game, all coming in and being able to perform. Wasn't perfect, but it was competitive. It was strong. And it was bounce back baseball where the Rockies again found themselves in a hole, but they fought back. They fought back the following, their following at bats. Actually, that's not true. Sorry. They gave up 2. They then went scoreless the following inning. It's not like this is going to drastically change the future of the Rockies. It's not like it makes everything better. It doesn't wash everything away. But the home series of the second half of the season have given us glimpses into what's possible, and great signs and great moments for young guys, and that's what we wanted to see, right? I mean, at this point in the season, that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see how will these guys handle? How can these guys handle playing the Dodgers? How will these guys handle going on the road and going back home? These type of questions and these type of things, that's the point of what we're seeing right now. In the last 4 games, we've seen the Rockies respond. We've seen the Rockies, navigate adversity, and we've seen the Rockies win. Stuff that we haven't seen throughout the year. And I think brings back to, I don't necessarily know if these type of lineups would be happening if the Rockies didn't make a change at manager. Ooh, sorry about that. I don't know. That's something we'll dive in probably more in the offseason, I think. But let me think. But I'm curious what you all think. Do you think that the Rockies have been more willing to go with these young guys and go these full top to bottom, full young guy lineups? Do you think that is a result of Warren Schaefer being in charge? Let me know. Rockies here as they go for the series split, and game 2 here are going to turn to Austin Gomber here. So he's going to have to be able to keep the ball in the yard, keep the hits down, and keep the Rockies within this one. The key to this stretch has been Rockies starters making sure the games don't get too far out of hand. And Austin Gomber, that has been a struggle for him here. The big thing here with Gomber now We're talking at least minimum of 4 earned runs, only actually 3 earned runs in his last 5 starts. Most of those, though, there's been 3 out of the last 5 starts for Austin Gomber have been at least 5 earned runs allowed. He's allowed at least 2 home runs in the last 3 games. He's allowed at least a home run in his last 5. He's allowed, 8 walks in his last 5 games as well. Had some good strikeout numbers in there, a 6 strikeout game against St. Louis and a 5 strikeout game against Pittsburgh. They are going to need Gomber to be able to get the strikeouts and be effective here and limit the damage. This would be when they're looking for when we're talking about bounce back, this would be an opportunity for Austin Gomber to bounce back because the Rockies got to be able to turn, like we've been talking about. This is a moment where the veterans got to step up. This is Austin Gomber's got to step up for the Rockies now. Hopefully the offense backs him up and is able to do some damage as well as they take on Emmett Sheehan, who is 3-2 with the 3.86 ERA, 1.23 WHIP, 30 hits allowed in 35 innings, 37 strikeouts there, 13 walks as well. So we saw how important the walks were in this first game. Got to be able to do that, and only 3 home runs allowed there from Emmett. So maybe if the Rockies can tag him from a couple and say, welcome to Coors Field, my friend. We'll see how it all shakes out, and we'll be reacting to it all here on Locked On Rockies. So make sure that you are checking us out on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. For your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night. And if you need more Colorado sports coverage, you got Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs, all free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.